All right. Awesome. Greetings and salutations
Hi.
from the new moon. Isn't it appropriate that our lesson 17 for the first group is about shadow, and we're in the middle of a new moon. No light. No light. Okay. I have to go get my phone. I'll be right back. Heavy, intense energy today. I just got finished doing a whole day's worth of Stargate energy sessions. So I don't know if any of you felt that, but it's pretty powerful. Under this new moon is the time to start what it is we are asking for. So with that said, I have saged the entire area to clear out some energy and project it out to everyone, salted the area. Now what I'd like everyone to do is just sit back, take a nice deep breath. And I'm going to use some blue magi tonight because many of us are suffering from physical ailments, some emotional ailments, just in general being bombarded by different things in our lives, even if it's just taking us off our normal grounded game and making us a little more stressed than normal. So focus on your breath. And let's go in through the nose and out through the mouth. Another in through the nose and out through the mouth. And that third one, take a nice, long, strong, deepest breath you've taken all day. And here comes the blue magi. I'm going to give a little bit more. And a nice torus of energy going up out through your crown, coming all the way down around your etheric energy field, back up through your feet, seated at the heart. And another nice deep breath, and see this torus of energy going out through your crown. And each time you breathe, this torus of energy is expanding further and further from your center. And everything in your energy field is being affected by the light within. And I ask now, Mother, Father, God, Creator of all things, please enter this session. Guide us. Make us instrument of your light and your love. I ask that all ascended masters of peace and light join us as well. Are the archangels, allowing us to put our egos and our personalities to the side, giving only the light within, clearing all that does not serve us, serve this group, serve Michael's mission, and then divine order of the light. And so it is, and so we are, and so it shall be. Another nice deep breath, and bring your awareness back to this space and time. Bring the awareness back to your eyes. And when you're ready in your own time, just open your eyes and start moving about and come back into that part of yourself to attend this class fully. So welcome. I don't know of all of those who have your board. If you didn't hear in the beginning, what I would like you to do is have your chessboard close by. because what's going to happen tonight is we need to start to activate these boards as a group. This is going to be a training session. It's not the end all die all the way everything's going to happen, but it's a training. And the way we're going to use this training, or the intention of this training, is that we want to build a strong force field of white light around the 2 projects that were submitted for the Audacious project. The one is Lady Mara's Legacy School Award, or the grant, and the other one is the Unity Beacons. They're tied together no matter what happens. They're really one and the same, but who knows what the Audacious project people are going to see. So we're going to practice with this like we do with our love bombing missions and our healing bomb missions. We're going to practice sending this force field of light with the boards. So just raise your hands for me if you have your boards, so I can count how many boards I have that are going to light up. So I have Mara, Joan, Kristen, Jane, Finn, Charlene, Sarah, Monique, and Tracy. So you all have them and your crystals next to you, right? Okay. So what I'd like you to do, and the rest of you are going to feel this energy. Hold on a minute. One of my crystals just jumped ship. There we go. Okay. All right. So you can put it on your lap if you want. The rest of you just kind of sit back and feel this energy as it happens. All of you have your positions labeled 1 through 10. Is that correct? Everybody has a label numbered? Okay. The first thing I want you to do, and I want to also tell you a funny story too before I forget. I grabbed this guy. I was supposed to grab 3 random ones for the board that I'm working. Actually, Johnny, I have your board. Your board. Which will go out tomorrow in the mail. So I grabbed this guy, and then I walked away from the whole sea of stones that I have, and I heard one say, "No, come back. You need me." So this guy jumped in, and he wanted to be used first. So, honest to God, if you all have your labeled list of archangels with you, you'll see that number 13 is Samuel. And this is number 35. Does anybody, I'm sorry, number 45. Does anybody know who number 45 is? Who is it, Monique?
Archangel Michael.
It is Michael. So Michael pulled me back and said, "Oh no, you're using me tonight." And this is what's so cool about these crystals. And I love when something like this happens. I had no idea. I just went over and grabbed them, and then they talked to me. They said, "Nope, this isn't it. You come back and get me." So anyway, oh, wait a minute, hold on. So somebody said, I don't have labels on mine for numbers. Charlene and Sarah, you don't have numbers? Okay. All right. This is backwards, but just so for the 2 of you, the top one is 1, 2, a minute, 2. So it's as you're looking at it, your right-hand side is the 2. 3 is the left-hand side. This center one on the tree of life is normally a blank. It does not have a number, but this is 10 for this chessboard purpose. And then you have 4, 5, 6 in the middle below the 10, 7, 8, 9. Okay? All right. Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. So for those of you who have your boards, take your bell crystal, and you're going to move You're gonna do the bell 3 times, and then take your cluster and move your cluster into the number 10 position. This represents both projects. And there are 1,000 angels in the battalion numbered on its bottom. Now I want you to record what you're putting down. I'm putting down number 71, who is, hold on for one moment. Let's see who stepped forward. Amriel, angel that governs the powers of May, guardian of the creation element radium. So the battalion of Amriel is for me on this board going on to my number 10 position. Those of you who have your boards, jot down who you're putting in that number 10 position. So the post number is 71, and I'm activating that brigade, battalion right now. Now I'm going to take a penny point, the one that has the penny on the bottom, and in my case, this is number 50. Varmiel, archangel that governs the 4th hour of the day. And this one is going to be moved to my number 4 position. That brigade and battalion have been activated. Now the 3rd layer comes your bell crystal. And for me, like I said, it's Michael. And Michael and his battalion is going to be moved to the number 1 position. Mark and remember who you're moving. And then just raise your hand when you've done this so I can tell on my mark we light our boards. Alexandria, do you have yours done? Okay. All right. All right. 1, 3. 1, 2, 3, light. I'm going to raise mine up for you to see. For those of you to focus your energy and what it is that we ask in this moment, we send our light. We are building a strong light force field of white light around our projects. Let it be known that we ask the angels in these brigades to focus their energy on the hearts and the minds of those who will help us with our project. Whew, 3rd eye going off on mine. All right, we're going to set that to a side for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to turn it off. Just remember to make sure that you record. Oh, you're recording it over there. That's awesome. That's a great idea. Yeah, if you want to record it in chat, that's good. But I also mark and remember what you've moved and how you've moved them on your own as well. Okay. I'm just going to make sure. Lady Mara, do I have anything I need to address before I go on other than those labels?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I've reviewed some of the essays. Some people have not turned in yet. And on that note, Lady Mara and I were talking earlier. We need to get a little housekeeping stuff done. I may make the deadline for the essays earlier, because a lot of you are turning them in late. Whereas we're trying to be flexible with things that happen with life, but on a regular basis, this is happening, and it's really hard to compile the information that's needed in order to do the class if we don't have all of your responses. Because as you can see, everybody's connected. I mean, in a moment, I'm going to tell you all the different things that have happened, and you're going to be blown away that everybody is having a lot of the same issues. Sir Doc, can you tilt your iPad down? I'm only seeing your nose and upward. There we go. There we go. Or you can sit closer. There we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now we see your scruffy look. It's all good. The guys have been working hard here at the castle putting up a fence, so I know they're really tired. Lady Mary, was there something else that we needed to cover besides the lateness of the essays? Because what happens is we get hit with emails in our inbox. And we not only get it when you submit something or when it's supposed to be submitted, we get it when it's getting late. So if you can think of the fact that we have over 50-some people in these classes together on the same day, all these emails are hitting, and it's bouncing down all the emails we need to see. Like Jennifer Chenault sent me an amazing email about what she was going to be doing with her work, and I never got to see it because I just found it today when I was looking through all the back emails. So was that it, Mara, or was there something else?
No, just the only thing I had mentioned to you, I was working in my garden today, and Gabriel said that the garden was to be a really good metaphor. I don't know if that's just for me or that's everybody.
Well, I think that's the theme of these next 2 weeks coming. So for all of you to understand, we're weeding out one another. We're weeding out ourselves. We're taking away the things that don't serve us any longer. Those in the first group, there were a few of us, quite a few of us, in a text thread with the angel readings that I told you about. You know, the book that you all have, or a lot of you have, the daily devotional, the angel meditations. And when we were done, we would text that we were done. All right, they're saying everybody turn your board off, and then just let it sit. Okay. And I think we had like 20 people-ish when we first started, 19, 20. And through attrition, it's gone down. But the last several months of the 17 that were left, quite a few weren't texting. And when number 17 lesson hit this week for the first group, it is all about our shadow self. And it's a very powerful lesson if you've done the work to get up to this. So if you haven't been working to get up to it, this lesson could throw you off kilter quite a lot. But it is about weeding out the things within us that don't serve us anymore. And a lot of people will come to me in session and say, you know, and I think I've repeated this last class too, so forgive me. But people will say, well, you know, I've already worked on that. Or I've already touched on that and I worked through it. And remember, we talked about that spiral of each time we come in to a situation in our life, we're going to meet that issue or that thing again and again until we really embrace the shadow self. And a lot of times people want to admonish or vilify that shadow when in fact it really needs to be embraced. It really needs to be honored, and it really needs to be worked through in a graceful, loving way. Because when that happens, you really do know yourself and what you're capable of. So this whole process of weeding things out, we've lost a couple people over the past month in the class, in both classes. I think we lost somebody in the oldest group just 2 days ago who was battling some serious health issues that will throw them off, throw all of us off. I haven't been well the last week or so. So it's thrown me off too. But is it going to throw you off, or is it going to make you work harder? Is it going to say, wait a minute, I don't feel so great and I don't accept that. So I'm going to use all of these lessons and tools that I've been learning to make me better. Or am I going to use that as the excuse to jump off? Because like we've said many times, this is no easy picnic. It's not an easy road to be doing what we're doing. But we are given all the tools necessary to accomplish the mission and work through anything that life throws at us. So the metaphor that that Mara was seeing today in weeding the garden is just like that metaphor with the shadow self. We're taking it out, that which does not serve. If any of you have ever seen or read The Shack, it was a beautiful part in the movie that they really did a good job with about weeding the garden. You weed the garden to make room for the new phase in your life and not just to throw it away. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about that?
The other thing that he mentioned to me was that for me, and it's probably for a lot of people, planning out the garden and planting the garden is really fun. And then comes the really challenging work of that garden has to be tended for months in order to see the production of the vegetables or the flowers or whatever I've planted.
Well, and that's look at the metaphor there with your spiritual practice. When we first get into it, it's like, oh, this is amazing. This is so cool. I'm feeling all these tingles and this energy and all this synchronicity and all these really cool experiences playing with crystals and playing with that. But if you play and you dabble and don't really take it seriously and apply what you're playing with, it can allow those weeds to grow more rapidly and take you over instead of clearing them out. So one of the things Sir Edward's trying to FaceTime me. Really? So funny. I'm going to decline that call. I'm busy. Sorry. One of the things that happened with the person in the older group who he left because he was on the fence. Too much. Way too much. He had stepped forward to a position here at the castle to come do work and be a knight and accepted, not just was merged, he accepted the sword, took it home, and then he did nothing. He let his life kept putting things in their way. So he kept using those things in front of him as an excuse not to do the work. We all are living life. Each one of you is living life. And some of us are really, really having a hard time with certain things. But you got to take those things that come here and go, okay, you have a place in my life. Go sit over there for a minute. Let me do this practice. Let me focus here so I can get stronger, so my mind can exercise to the point that I can take you, issue, and now I'm better equipped to deal with you. Instead of allowing it to grow those weeds like we talked about. And sometimes those weeds come over and they choke us out. I mean, let's face it, any of you have had a garden, especially a vegetable garden, and you let the weeds overgrow, what happens to the vegetables and the fruit? They wither and they perish because everything's sucking the life from them. So look at that. See, all these people are doing soil and fertilizer and weeding their gardens. It's awesome. All the same thing happening. 2 of you received your divorce papers in the last week. Bittersweet. Bittersweet. You know, I remember when I received my divorce papers, you sit there and you go, wow, you know, I worked a long time and there was a lot of turmoil and it was hardship, but then there's also that sadness. So it's one of those things that I see as the closing of a door, but the opening of another. So congratulations to those of you who this has happened, and you have all of our love to heal that part in you that is full of sorrow. Interesting. Lady Sky, I don't think she's on yet or not, but she just connected with someone who's half Russian and half Ukrainian with close ties in both countries. So what this is going to do for us, those of you who are going out planting crystals, we're going to be able to fortify that area of the world that we don't have crystals in right now. That we know of. I mean, we have not planted anything in the Ukraine or in Russia. So that's amazing. And hopefully by the time this all starts, we'll have that map, that virtual map that we were talking about online yesterday and today. I'm just going through all my notes from all of your all of you are having some pretty amazing experiences with your war shield. And I'm going to ask you to share that as well. A lot of gastrointestinal problems. I don't know whether it's the tail end of the flu or there's a bad bug out of there or what's going on. Or maybe we are detoxing and purging some things that we've been holding on to for the winter. But there are several of you in both groups that have had the same thing. I mean, to the point where it's remarkable. It's not just, oh, okay, we all live in different places of the country, it's going to happen. I would say the percentage is pretty high. So you see that this connection that we have is not causing it, but we're purging at the same time. Like Alexandria just said, it's a purging of that chakra. Yeah, we don't need it anymore. Let's get rid of what it was that's not serving us. As nonsensical as it sounds, it's better out than in, right? And sometimes with the gastrointestinal things, it's going to come out in a way we don't want it to, but at least it's out. All right. Some milestones for some of you. A lot of changes in your life. Lady Monique's children and son-in-law are moving to California. Congratulations. That's awesome. So your whole family is going to be there now, right? Because I know you're with your one daughter now, right?
Yes, that's right.
That's awesome.
That'd be the whole family, yeah.
So where in California are you now?
This is Oceanside.
Southern?
Yes, that is Southern.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. The other thing is 3 of you had a dream that Archangel Michael appeared to you. I mean, full on readily appeared to you. Sky had a dream that he appeared to her. And 2 others. I forgot to have that piece of paper with me, but Mary and Robert too. Interestingly, Mary, Our Lady Mary that's here at the castle, very ill today, here with a horrible migraine. But a lot of times what's happening with the earth affects her because she represents our Mother Earth in a part of this equation that we're the experiment that we're going through here at the castle. So again, a lot of random headaches, stomach aches, things that you're purging because we're under a very, very powerful new moon. And that new moon, again, is in that shadow. So just be mindful and don't worry. Somebody else said something. Oh, silly stomach aches. Exactly. They are silly stomach aches. Don't take them seriously. Okay. So lesson 16 has been over for the older group. Lesson 6 for the younger group. So tell me something. The GoodKnight group with invoking the angels of the 4 directions. Does anybody have any questions about that? No? Eric. Where's Eric? There he is. Eric. Eric, can you unmute yourself? Finn, Eric.
Yes.
Hey, see, Finn and I had a session earlier, and you were talking to me about invoking the angels of the four directions. Can you share your experience with that?
When we had a session, me and you, think about.
Mm-hmm.
So much happening, and what do you? I don't remember really. It's so much. Something special you think about?
Well, you were telling me that you were evoking them into that sacred space in your room.
Yeah. I do it every morning.
Okay.
Yes, and I have it in my sacred room in the basement with my crystals and the altar and I do a lot of thing before. I do a lot of cleansing and water flame and then I do this invocation of the archangels and and I feel them and it's really amazing. So
Awesome.
and I will do that every day now.
Okay. So
Yes.
you sent me a note that the anxiety is no longer there.
Yeah, it's no longer there.
Okay.
It's away. It's amazing because I had that. It's coming and going for all my life because of my sensitivity. I have absorbed so much in my childhood uh, and the anxiety. I always was on the alert and to feel everything too much, and now it's away. It's so far so good.
So how many other of you have any kind of recurring anxiety or issues that throw you off? Okay. When I worked with him the other day, I saw that when he calls them in, he calls them in a commanding way, in a respectful way. Not that you all don't, but due to the way he is doing it, his anxiety, he's keeping himself grounded. So the recurring anxiety is gone because he has this sacred space that he's set up. And that sacred space is not just in his basement, it's traveling wherever he goes. And he and I were talking about, like, he would ride his bike into town and he would feel everyone all at once. But that's no longer happening. Is that correct, Finn?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a huge protection force that can go with you wherever you go. You just don't have to call them in for an energy healing session. You can call them in your life in any way you need them, and start your day with them. Start your day by calling them in and giving yourself a almost like an invisible shield of protection around you. And then, like, you pull on your clothes, you pull on your own archangel, and right there you have a 5-pointed star. You got the 4 directions, you're the 5th point. You're the center point, and you have protection everywhere around you. So that's one way to use it that, we didn't put in the book or in the exercise, but it's definitely a great way to get through life every day. Thank you, Finn.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know how to remute him there. Oh, there we go. Does anybody else have any experiences with calling in the archangels from your lesson 6? No? Any questions about lesson 6 now that you're done with it? Okay. All right. All right, so let's move on to your lesson 7. Has anybody opened up your lesson 7 from group 1? Anybody opened it? Okay, does anybody have any questions about it? I know that there was an anomaly. Yesterday it posted, and then it came down because it was supposed to be scheduled for last night at 12 midnight. So a couple people of you wrote me going, am I out of the group? The lesson disappeared. No, that was Google or my fault, I'm sure. But anyway, it's righted. So I thought I saw a hand. Who has, Leslie, you had a question? you have a question? Okay, unmute yourself. There you go.
How do you pronounce the EA? Is it in the lesson 7? It says that we are to do the EA over the waters. How do you pronounce that?
Okay, so you'll listen to it in the audio, but it's like in pet. Let me see what it says in here. I'm going to read for it specifically. But is the EA in a full voice over the bowl 3 times, and it's like Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Question for that, for this number 7? Anything going on? No. Okay. Leslie, could you remute yourself, please? There we go. Awesome. Okay. Any questions from group 1 in general? So that's the group that's on lesson 7. Any questions at all? About your boards, about what you're doing with the class? No? Okay. All right, then let's go back to the older group. You just finished up lesson 16. Any questions on lesson 16 from the older group? No, everybody jump in at once. Okay, so that was pretty powerful. That was about Atlantis. Now, it's very interesting. The thing I do have to take some time and talk about, and the other group will have to kind of mark and remember when it comes up. The lesson about Atlantis is taking you home to the land of Atlantis when it existed in this dimension. Making a mistake, it still exists. It's just not here in your dimension where you can see it, most of you anyway. And as you all know, it was on a collision course for disaster because of different dynamics that were happening on that continent and through the species that was in power at the time. Quite a few of you in the older group have commented and commented in I'm going to say a slightly fearful way, that exactly everything that you read and you felt in the meditation made you relate to what's going on right here, right now, in the current atmosphere of the world. So it can be a little scary. So raise your hand if you felt that, because I've got, okay, so Doc, Joan, Jane, Clayton, Sarah. See, there are a number of you. Am I missing anybody? On the second page. Okay. Don't be afraid. And the reason you don't want to be afraid is, number one, Gabriel many, many, many moons ago said, don't be afraid, I bring you good news. And that good news is that in the Bible it says the Savior's been born. But the real good news is that the Christ energy is here. The white light is here, to been delivered to the consciousness. And you're all a part of that. And the other amazing thing about what's happened is that humans have evolved and are wiser than they were back then. And we have the guidance. And most of all, we've all started to develop a heightened sense of humility, to surrender to the energies that are coming through, working with us, trying to help us get through this part of our life and in our existence. So we're not going to make the same mistakes we made before. That's what you're all here for. That's what we're here for. You know, Sir Edward and I, when we decided to publish the books, when Michael said it's time to publish them, publish the lessons for all of humanity to have access to. click in, put it in your cart in Amazon, and off you go, right? That's a little scary because anybody has access to it. But there are a couple things that happen. Number one is quite a powerful energy prayer of intention was put locked tight on this work. That's number one. Number two, I did not publish everything. So some of which you get when you're with me. You get it maybe not through my words, maybe not through what we talk about or what we are focusing on, but you're getting it through the energy. You get it through my eyes. You get it through the energy field. You will absorb everything that's necessary, and when it's time, it'll all come to light for you. But just know there are a few symbols, there are a few words, there are a few different things throughout the lessons that are very vital keys of unlocking something that is not all just there for anyone to pick up and go willy-nilly with. Okay? It's like the energy beacons. You know, they can't be shifted. You know, when I did the grant, and I said somewhere, I don't know if I put the whole grant up, but there's a part in the grant where I said, because I knew that someone was going to bring this up in the grant committee. Well, how are you programming them with light? Why can't someone take it and program it with negativity? It's a great question, right? But these can't be, they can't be shifted. They can't be named. They can't be altered in any way, shape, or form because they've aligned with us. They're part of us. These crystal beings are beings that are working with you, and each one of these houses an archangel. That's how they can't be messed with. Okay? This is how we're going to shift the world. We may not find 144,000 faces looking back every 2 weeks, but we're sure as heck going to get 144,000 of these out at the minimum. Okay? So let me go back. Don't be afraid. You know, awareness is the key, but allowing fear to enter into anything you do makes you vulnerable. And we don't want you to be vulnerable. There's a lot of times, and those of you in the older group will know this, with this shadow meditation that comes up, once we get really rolling with anything we do in life, whether it's we've honed our baseball or our soccer skills enough to be a professional, or we're really, really, really good CEO, or we're awesome energy workers and we've got practices, or we're really good at anything. Just throw it out there. Whatever you're really good at in your life, the better you are, the more vulnerable you can become if you think you are that. Know that all of us are guided and supported by energies that are making us rise. And as soon as we think we know more than that energy, we fall. It's a huge ego trap. And what really happens is that kicks in, it's the fear. It's the fear of, wow, this happened to me before. I can't let that happen again. I'm not going to let this person do this to me or that person do that to me. You really have to work on your control of your fear, your control of your ego. That's the only way that we can go down as a group. Sir Edward has always told all of us sitting here, any one of us can be replaced with a mannequin at any time because he can put the energy into the mannequin. But now we're putting the energy into the crystals. And that's why they're so amazing. When you feel these, when I've given them out and people are like, what is so amazing about this. People who have no idea. I mean, how many of you have given to somebody who has no idea anything about crystals, anything about energy work? They're enamored with this because it's radiating the Christ consciousness. It's radiating the energy of Mother, Father, God, of home, of oneness. It's a oneness beacon. But we're gonna use it to unify everyone. So, any questions on that? Or anybody have any additional comments? Those of you who were concerned about the Atlantean story. What's up with the cats tonight? Gary's cat, Yvette's cat. Doc, were you the one that brought, oh, Gary, you had your hand up? Go ahead.
Yeah, my thought was that, I mean, definitely seeing the relationship. I didn't have a feeling of fear, but I did have a feeling of daunting, you know, kind of like, wow, the overwhelm of the bigness of the picture of it all. But as I did, and even thinking, having this idea of like, man, I just got to get out there and start waking people up. It was reminded to me that the most important part of my journey is my journey. It's my consciousness and raising up and elevating my awareness, which naturally provides like a leavening of the masses, like a buoy. And that as I continue to do inner work and focus on being in the highest alignment of what's true in my living expression, then that has a vibrational impact that's greater than all the like trying to wake everybody else up and bring the light.
That's why when I started with the Taurus energy field around you and then vibrating out further and further, anyone coming into your energy field, like anyone coming into the energy field of this beacon, is going to be affected. You know, remember, one of the reasons why you're all feeling what you are with lesson 16 is because our timeline is actually amped up. We really weren't supposed to be here. This was supposed to take place after 2020, 2023. That's when all this was actually supposed to come to a head, where we were going to start doing these lessons. Remember in the beginning of the book what Sir Edward said. After the attacks on Paris, Michael came back and said, it's time. Our timeline has totally been blown out of the water because we're in uncharted territory. So things are shifting, and that's why you're feeling both that ever-present, oh my gosh, we got to go do this, and the severity of it. What all of you have to keep in mind, we are under the umbrella, all of us. We're under the umbrella of Michael's mission to affect this consciousness, to see through what God intended. All of us woke up under that umbrella. But all of us, each individually, have a mission as well. We are not that mission. We are part of Michael's mission, but our mission has to be affected in order for the mission to be affected. Do you understand that, everyone? Okay, so don't be thinking, if you think your mission is greater than it is, that's going to make you pull down. You got to keep it all in perspective. Like when, Mara and I were doing these projects, Mara's always been guided by Gabriel and Michael about these schools. I've always been guided to come help the children. But it's under Michael's mission that we both exist and we come together as this entity. So, yes, work on yourself to be that beacon that's resonating with every breath, everything that you do every single day. I know it's hard. Believe me, I fall. I've had, like I said, I haven't been feeling good the last week or so. And all the little nuance things that come in and become that problem, I can very easily go like in that complain mode. And as soon as I go to the complain mode, I drop down further instead of saying, you know, I'm going to do this anyway. I choose to do it with love and with light instead of with angst. So don't be afraid. Take your time and be patient. Michael always told me he was the Prince of Patience for a reason, because he was waiting for all of us. But thank you, Gary. Doc, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah, just to expand on that a little bit, I'm with Gary in the sense that it caused me to go inward and to see, sort of to clean up my act. And Monique, I hope some of you saw an article I posted on kindness and the exponential effect that the slightest act of kindness has in the world and in the universe. And Monique posted something that just was another affirmation to give me greater hope, and not in me, but greater hope in our cause and in us collectively. Because she, and I'm going to ask her to repeat it if she can remember it, but she literally gave statistics on the effect, the enormous effect, the counterbalancing effect that an act of kindness has to ameliorate people who are struggling and people who may be acting unkindly or suffering from depression. And it was really a nice tie-in with that whole idea of meeting the darkness with love, meeting the darkness with kindness. And so I thought it was kind of cool. So if Monique, if it's with your permission, Sophie, if she could share that, I think it would be nice for everybody to hear who maybe wasn't exposed to it and didn't see it in the thread.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Monique, you want to unmute yourself?
Yes. Dr. Hawkins' map of consciousness is something that's been going on for a number of years, and other people keep up the study. It's with kinesiology, but approximately a person that is at the level of 600 brings up 10 million people that are at the level of 200. For instance, 500 is love, but 600 is a level of consciousness and enlightenment. And so it's a confirmation when he posted that was triggered to me, because I'm with other organizations that keep up with the levels to also collectively raise the vibration of the property of individuals' lives and communities. So when I saw that immediately, I said, well, maybe people are not aware of the impact, but it's impacting, one of us impacts 10 million at any given time.
And that's going to be great statistics for our project.
Yes.
So it's interesting you say that, because we've always talked about the non-proven, the non-scientific science project called the 100th Monkey Principle. Have you all heard of it? 100th Monkey, where on supposedly on an island, monkeys did a certain thing, and then on another island, they repeated that same behavior, and they wondered how that happened. And they set out to prove, which they didn't prove it, but that just because the consciousness of the one pod of monkeys did something, it raised the consciousness of the other pod, and they repeated that action. So we've always said that it's not going to take the entire world to shift the consciousness. It's only going to take a certain number to reach that critical mass that makes us hit the tipping point where we will affect the consciousness just by our thoughts and our actions. That's why it is important that we are that change that we want to see in the world. You know, Gandhi wrapped it up in a few short words. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be your change your world, change the rest of the world. So recently in talking with Sir Edward, when we kept thinking, oh, you know, we got to reach 144,000, we're going to get 144,000. We were thinking, well, you know what? It's really only going to take about 144 of us. Because 144 of us, just like Monique said, how many does that reach? Do the math. Exponentially, that's pretty amazing. And those are the numbers that I have in my hip pocket for when we go for the second round of the grant, so they can see what we're going to do. It's like taking a piece of paper and folding it over. How many times can you fold it before you can't fold it anymore? Right? There you go. But with each one of those folds, how many things are you affecting in that fold? It's pretty amazing. It's just not like timesing it by 7. It's folding it in itself. So, yes, Alexandria, we are the new Earth's consciousness. Yep. And Mara, yeah, make it viral. Absolutely. Can you imagine what's going to happen once people actually do log on to our Facebook pages? It's going to be crazy. Crazy good. Okay, so anybody else, Jane, any of the other ones, Sarah, anybody else want to comment on the Atlantis thing, or are you guys okay? Everybody okay? All right. All right, so getting on with group 2, the older group, this next exercise could rock your world a little bit, because it seems to be like every 3rd or 4th one we kind of really have something that's pretty heavy hitting. And when you go to meet that shadow self, I've given you an out in your meditation. So you're going to hear me talk about why we're doing what we're doing. And then I'm going to tell you, if this isn't something that you're asking internally that it's time, you can stop. You don't have to do it. You can come back to it at a different time. But you still need to read the story. You still need to listen to the lesson. And you still need to write your essay. So your essay is this, and you can all think about this. How could you turn into Seth? Take a nice deep breath right now. And just ask your angel, what in your life would make you turn, if there is something, into an attention-seeking, power-hungry, egotistical, raging Seth? I will tell you, even though your first action or your first reaction would be, oh, I couldn't do that. There's always something. And it could be teeny, 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 tiny. And in the right moment, with the right set of circumstances, and the right person pushing your button, it can all come together. Because we are all born with both sides. And the reason why you're doing these lessons is not really just to grow spiritually. It's to be able to learn how to control your thoughts. You control them. Not the media, not mom and dad, not your spirit family group, not your family, you. Because if you can't control your thoughts, you can't control anything else in your world. Can't control what comes out of your mouth, can't control your actions. Very, very important. So those of you who've ever gone to the gym to work out, to build your body, know that these lessons are building your mind. And it's the way God intended. You were always supposed to be this way. You were never supposed to be programmed otherwise. You were never supposed to be falling asleep. Elaine, is that Elaine there? No, Elaine's not here. Is Elaine here? Can't. Elaine's not on, is she?
She's on a cruise this week with her children.
Oh, that's right. Her son, that boy's awake. And he's doing some amazing things. And you're going to see a lot of these children A lot of you have the children. Roya, your daughter. You know, there are a lot of people have the children in their lives that are awake and have not been affected negatively yet. They tried to get Luke, her son, because of the Parkland shooting. That shooting was actually supposed to be Luke's goal. And that was going to happen in the fall, but we pushed that off. They all saw it coming. So we have to protect the ones that are still awake. You have to work on yourself. And then we have to be really aware of the ones that are younger that have been affected. And we have to help repair that, supporting them with whatever way we can. It's really, really important to not react to all the things that they're going through, but to listen, support, and respond from love, and never from fear. And this is why you're here. You are here to affect the children of tomorrow, but you know we're all part of that. All right, so I'm going to open up the floor for the last half an hour or so to any other questions or thoughts. Anybody have anything that they need to talk about or ask a question? You? Lady Mara, do you see anything on the side here? I thought I saw a question. Oh, Roya. Can you talk to us about what happened with your daughter on the playground?
It was actually my son, one of the twin boys.
Okay.
It was Elias. I took both boys up on the second level and the playground at the beach. So he didn't see, there was an opening right in the playground, right in the middle. There was an opening where there's 2 stairs going up. And he saw it, and I said, don't go over there. And then I looked this way to make sure my son doesn't go in the slide. So I looked this way, but then this boy goes in. And I don't know, I looked back, and all I did, and I felt like I was in a fog. It happened within a few seconds, maybe a second or so. But I held on to his arm, but I didn't hold it hard enough. And I don't know how I knew this, but I didn't hold it hard enough so that his arm would get dislocated if I did. So I didn't hold it hard enough, but I did enough where I redirected his fall, where he fell right on his bottom, and he didn't hit his head on the stairs going down. And right after he fell, I felt like I woke up again. I saw what just happened. I screamed, and my husband saw the whole thing. He was downstairs, like below the playground. He saw the whole thing, and he said, I don't know what you did, but if you didn't hold on to his arm the way you did, he would have he would have hit his head really badly on the stairs, and it's made of metal, so it was very scary. But yeah, it felt weird. I felt like something took over me, or because I felt like I was in a fog. It was so weird. I've never felt like that before. I don't know what it was.
last week with something that took over him to subdue the guy in the sweat lodge.
Yes.
It happens to us all. And it's interesting, in lesson 17 that the other group is going to do, they're actually, the actual lesson for practice is the real astral projection lesson. And typically, we go back to that the door to the psychic world is not opened with a ram, but with the slightest caress. And when we try hard, usually it doesn't happen. But when we're not thinking, or in that split moment when we have to respond or react, then everything seems to take over. Because why? Because you've already stepped forward, you've already started to practice, and you're used to working with that energy. So what really happened, it just came through you, took over, did what needed to happen, and then went on its way. Same with Gary. Same thing.
I felt that. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Someone had a question. Oh, Joanna.
Now, Lady Joan had a question, and she typed that she can't read it because her granddaughter's there. So I said I would read it to you and everyone else.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, she said, in the book, it talks about how the stronger Master Eber became, that the lying yang effect, the negative positive relationships that the son of Belial joined with Seth. With Sir Edward joining with Archangel Michael, is there a counterpart out there that is negative?
Right now, Belial is still here on Earth. Yeah. How many of you ever watched the movies Fallen with Denzel Washington and Zazel? Highly recommend that one. Mikhail and I have been watching. We kind of get guided like you guys do to certain things, and I don't know what it is because I never was drawn to them before. But all of a sudden, we've been almost ravenously going through all of the Avengers and the hero movies, Iron Man and Thor, and all the Avenger wars, and I don't know why it's been hidden from me for so long because I've never looked at them before, but the messages are unbelievable. I mean, the Infinity War, what's that? Is that what the new one is called the Infinity War? The guy with the glove with the Infinity Stones? Oh my gosh. It's crazy collecting the Infinity Stones. So yes, it's out there. There is a counterpart, Joan. What happened back in Atlantis was, if you've read it already, King Midas was way too weak and way too distraught for Michael to align with him. So he aligned with the Master Eru. Master Eru was a being alive on the earth. So that's how you become ascended master. If you're a human being who's ascended with wisdom and understanding to a point that you vibrate the same as the highest consciousness, you ascend and you become an ascended master. So Eru was one of the magi, one of the high priest magi's, and an ascended being. So the highest vibration that was available for Michael to merge with, in order for, remember, we are each merging. You got a physical human body, you've got a body, and you've got the angel that comes with it. So whatever is afforded to the light has to be afforded to the darkness. So when the Creator gave Michael the go-ahead to start that merging with human being or species, then we had to give that same power to the dark. Point, counterpoint, balance. So that's when Seth merged with Belial. Okay. Now Seth is no longer, but the Belial energy is still very much present, as are, a few negative or darker spirits. Okay. Does that answer your question? I mean, I can't tell you it's so-and-so that lives in the White House or in Russia or North Korea, or I'm not gonna say that. It moves through whoever wants to raise their hand and say, hey, I am that person whose ego gets too out of whack, or that lust for power, or that lust for attention. It's all too much an antenna for the darkness. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. That's why it's important that we work on the shadow self. That's why it's important we work on the ego, because the more you get in control of your thoughts and stay true to the I think, when I think I know I don't, when I know I don't I do, your humility is paramount. If you live through that and say, wow, this thing I did, it's pretty awesome, but that isn't me. I just allowed it, and I'm going to give myself a pat on the back because I allowed it, and I'm open and I'm ready for growth, and I'm willing to be that vessel. I'm willing, I'm here in service. But as soon as you turn it and say, I'm here for you to serve me, or I'm here for the world to serve me, totally flips. Okay? All right, there was...
Carrie has a question.
Joanna asked to say something too. But go ahead, whoever.
No, I think Joanna was first.
Okay. I can't find Joanna though. I don't know where she is. Let's see if she's in my second. She's below you. Where? I don't see.
Do you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Go ahead.
I would like to apologize humbly, being far away from you all. It has been for many of us rough beginning of the summer. It has been really hot in Finland and moving and million other things that I don't need to explain. But I have been there. I have been doing the exercises and trying to be in the Facebook threads as much as I can. But yeah, I'm exhausted without you. And I've seen dreams about you and felt your energies, and the angels have been there. And I'm humbly giving thanks about it. And I will be strong and rising, like I said a million times. I don't know will this ever end, but yeah, I'm getting stronger, and I want to apologize and thank you, and I will do my best to be there for you, and like,
Thank you. Well,
it's getting better.
We're here for you.
Thank you.
There's some of you, you know, sometimes our perspective on the things that we're going through either makes it worse or makes it better. You know, you can play Pollyanna and make the best of everything, but there are some of you that are going through some really, really, really difficult things. That doesn't mean some of the little tiny difficult things don't matter. It just means that we have to be here in support and love for one another, and to know that we all know that you're struggling, and we're sending love to everyone in every given moment. What I don't want to happen is I don't want you to fall so far behind that you don't have the foundation and it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
So know this for everyone. Listening to those lessons, if you can do nothing else, do that. Because you're absorbing the energy with which it's programmed. When I record them, I'm sure you have all heard the dogs barking every once in a while. You've all heard little sounds, little anomalies. I am not in a recording studio. I am back in a room I call the chamber that has a meditation area. And so much comes through there that the vibration of my voice, I'm not even in control of that. It just comes through and it goes. People say to me, can you send me the script of what you have for that meditation? No, there's no script. It just comes through. So the reason I'm telling you that is because the vibration of that frequency that's coming through is layered with all kinds of information that has nothing to do with the words and all to do with the energy that's coming through. So if you listen to it, it's going to help you exponentially. So please do that. So so say if you're in lesson 17 and you've been kind of waning since 13, don't do 17. Go back and listen 13, 14, listen to them and build.
Yeah.
It will not work if you do this, because it's like, remember what I said a long time ago. Think of a brick wall that I'm putting and I'm building. I can't have this foundation here and nothing in between and then go put something up here because it's going to fall. Okay?
Yeah, I have been doing the last 4, like almost daily, and the first meditation daily, at least a couple of times. And yeah, it has just been hard to concentrate on the essays. And yeah.
Well, remember the 4 agreements, all of you. Keep your words impeccable for yourself and others. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions that you're out of class when you're not. And always do your best. And Lady Johanna, somebody just asked if we could send you some healing. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
I would appreciate.
let's do that right now. Anybody who has, I'm going to pick up Michael. Anybody who has their bell, pick your bell up, shake it 3 times, call on your angel, and on 3, send to Johanna. 1, 2, 3. In the light and love of the Creator, support our sister, support our light. Let her know that the beacon exists in the darkest of times, in the darkest of moments. Let her know your presence. Let her feel our love. And so it is, and so we are, and so shall she be.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, nice deep breath. Come back out of that. And then just touch base with me later, Johanna, and let me know how you're feeling, okay? Happy tears. Happy tears. That's awesome. Thank you all for that. All right, Lady Mary, you said Gary had a question? I lost Gary. Where'd he go? I don't see him. Is he still here? No, maybe he had to go.
Yeah, I actually don't see him now.
Okay, sorry, Gary. Catch you on the flip side. All right, I thought there was somebody else as well. No? Oh, yes, Erica. She has a question. Is it better to acknowledge it to our spouses? I told him of his ways for us to grow as a couple. I can't talk spotty service. Is Erica here right now? There she is. Can you talk now?
Yes, I'm just on a very loud bus
Okay, that's okay.
back home.
So what do you mean, can we acknowledge what to your spouses?
Meaning their ways of negativity, even though I'm on a better path, meaning there's some things that he needs to realize about, not being, oops, I just lost you, not being negative. Don't allow things to bother him because it messes kind of with my energy when he gets upset about something for no reason.
Okay.
And I'm trying to stay focused.
Yeah, he can't mess with your energy unless
I'm sorry?
he cannot mess with your energy unless you mess with your energy. Okay, so that's number 1.
Unless I let him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now sometimes that's conscious or unconscious. Okay. Sometimes we kind of feed into the drama and the pattern and the way that we relate to one another. Sometimes it's a lesson that you need to learn, something that is pushing your button that is coming from him, maybe something you need to examine. Okay, he might not be 100% wrong. Number 2, it's a slippery slope telling somebody they're wrong. Okay, or labeling your energy better than his energy. You may be working on yourself right now, and you may be more aware than he is about all of what we're doing. That the best way to make anyone aware is to be that awareness. Vibrate it out. Don't say it. Sometimes words will piss people off and make it worse, okay? But if you stay you, and you just vibrate and send love out to the situation, and I don't mean ignore it in the way that you're a battering ram, okay? There's a fine line between knowing who you are, having your boundaries up, and resonating with the oneness of the love that you want to be, and allowing him to do certain things that you don't like. If you can speak to him impeccably and without emotion and point certain things out, that's how you do it. But until you get to that point, I highly recommend you just be what you want to be. Be that change. Remember what we said earlier. Be the change you want to see in your world. If I don't want my kid to yell back or snap back at me, which she's doing, I can't do that to her. I can't go, we're late for school, come on, let's go. What are you doing? Why would you want to do that? No, I have to go, okay, darling, we're late for school. I've got to center myself. And if I'm going to speak, it's got to be with love. That's how you're going to change your world. But remember, a lot of us, especially those of us under the age of 40, some under the age of 50, have hormones that are messing with you. Actually, some over the age of 50, the hormones are messing with you, but in a different way. There's this really cool thing that happens when you look back and you go, why did I let that bother me so much? Right? How many of you been there? All right. I guarantee in 10 years, you're going to look back and go, what the heck was I thinking? Why did I let that bother me? Well, we're really under or behind the 8 ball when it comes to the human element with hormones. These chemicals that rage through our bodies, they really do mess with our minds. I mean, I'm not even just talking about the male-female hormones. I'm talking about all the other, the dopamine, the serotonin, everything goes up and down, sometimes with what you eat, sometimes with who you're interacting with. But I will tell you this, no matter what age you are, what stage you are in life, if you control your thoughts, you can control those hormones. That's one thing that no other species in this experiment that we're going through has to deal with. They play on your emotions, and the younger you are, the more it messes with you, if you let it. So Erica, when you get to that point where that negativity flares, take a step back, pretend you're somebody else. What would Lady Sophia say to this guy? Pretend like you have no emotional skin in the game. Pretend it's your friend trying to give you advice on this situation. How would you respond then? And remember, always respond. Reactions are those knee-jerk reaction. You haven't thought it through. But a response is very, very well thought through, very controlled, and it's always after a nice deep breath. So does that help, Erica? Yeah? Okay. Okay, so Lady Mara, what's anything else going on that I need? What's that you just put up there about an ancient teaching?
Oh, I just said that there was a Buddhist teaching that said, what if everybody's actually the Buddha and I'm the only one left who's not enlightened? I have a difficult partner at times, Joanna, and yet I love him very dearly because he reminds me to practice.
Yeah, Sir Doc reminded me the other day. I was getting irritated about something that I didn't want to do, or I was getting upset that I said I would do something when I felt like I was being taken advantage of. And he goes, why are you getting upset? You know you're going to do it anyway. Right? And he's right. Just do it. And then, but understand for a second that you can take a breath and ask yourself, why am I upset? What about this situation is really upsetting me? And what can I learn from it? How can I avoid it in the future? Or do I want to avoid it in the future? Remember, some of the greatest teachers in our lives are the hardest people to live with in the most difficult situations. God did not promise us butterflies and roses all the time. If he did, you'd be bored out of your mind. You'd be trying to find ways to entertain yourself. You need these things to examine. Try doing this, Erica. Next time something negative comes up, say a silent thank you. Thank you for this gift. And gratitude can shift your situation in an instant. But truly mean it. Thank you. Thank you. I see this lesson. And really, it's like the namaste. I see the light in you. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Thank you. I appreciate this lesson you've just given me. So try that. Kristen has a question. Where's Kristen? Go ahead, Kristen.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I had experience. I was out and about and seeing a friend's band play. So I don't usually go in public because energy is overwhelming. But this experience, I did everything protective because it was a bar scene, and I'm not one to go into the bar scenes. But it was friends playing, and we met up with friends, and a friend was there that I was called to put my hands on her to do some sort of healing, but it was all beyond me. Like I literally went intuitionally into it and put my hands on her, and I could feel the exchange happening, and it didn't feel bad at first, but I ended up overheating and needing to get out of the place immediately after that. And the following day I was doing cleansing, I was doing the salt cleansing, and I was doing all my clearings with sage, and it just wasn't leaving me, the heavy feeling of whatever I took on from that. So I consulted my healer, and she ended up removing what was an entity, she said, that attached itself from the experience. But I'm curious to know if there's ways that we can do that for the stronger entities that I'm not aware of, maybe?
Well, okay, so number one, before you go, and this is for anybody, anyone who is inebriated under the influence of alcohol or drugs, and P.S., they're a beacon of light that they don't know they are. They are like that search beam in the sky at the grand opening of the car dealership. Okay? They're saying, come get me. And anybody who's lost, any dark energies are attracted to that. And when you are inebriated, when you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs, you are vulnerable. So when you go into a bar, a nightclub, or sometimes even a wedding or a place, anywhere that alcohol is served, you have to protect yourself. I would not suggest you put your hands on someone in that case, even though she needed it. You could send it unless you are very well schooled. Okay, so typically what happens, and I think I've told this story somewhere along the line. My oldest daughter worked in a place in Baltimore called Fells Point. And Fells Point is on the water in the Baltimore Harbor. And it's known for its pub crawls. I mean, where people literally are so stinking drunk that they crawl from one pub to the next. And she went through some alcohol issues in her early 20s, late teens. And she would come home with stuff stuck all over her, where Doc and I would have to extract something on a weekly basis. That an entity, I mean, it was good for the entity because once it found her as the light, we sent it to the light, but not so good for her until she finally decided enough was enough and she would protect herself. So before you go in there, number one, protect yourself. Number two, be careful who you put your hands on. Number three, depending on your level of what you do, you may not be able to remove it yourself. Okay?
Mm.
Do attempt to try to remove it yourself. Always call in Saint Michael and ask him to take the entity to the light. Remember what we did with a few lessons back when someone entered the space with Denise, who was in the
yes.
Remember that? Okay. All right. Same sort of thing, but you have to command it. I mean, you gotta command it. Can't play with it. You've got to command it. So if you're not sure, I don't recommend you doing it on your own. Armor of God, like Lady Jane just said, if you're going into that situation, spritz of the armor of God around you will protect you. The Hierophant, the Blue Magi will help remove it if that happens. But yeah, they're attracted to the light because these people are these spirits are lost. They never found their way to the light due to their own issues, typically, while they're here on Earth. So they're in darkness and they're affected by the darkness. So when they see a beam of light, they're coming for you, and they'll attach. Not most of them don't really know what they're doing. It's not like they're malevolent and trying to affect you, even though they are there. But they will affect you negatively because they don't belong in your auric field. So yeah, hitching a ride, they want the light because they want to go home. It's the pathway home for them. And they think it's that, but then they wound up getting stuck to you or whoever. Okay?
Yes, thank you. It's definitely out of my normal world of things happening, but thank you.
You're welcome. Sir Doc, you want to add to that?
Actually, no. I didn't want to add to it, but there was something you mentioned a while ago. I can't remember it exactly, but I saw something that struck me as profound on YouTube. There is a reformed terrorist. I'll probably butcher the name, but I'll give it a shot. His name is Majid Nawaz. He was on a panel and they were discussing and actually debating whether Islam is a religion of peace. And he was on the side, his position was that it was. Well, when they introduced him, he was a member of Hezbollah. He was an avowed terrorist. He hated the West. And evidently they knew his story. They knew what the answer was going to be before they asked him the question. And they asked him what turned him around. And could he say it in one sentence? And he said, Amnesty International. And what he was in prison. He was an imprisoned terrorist, Islamic terrorist. And he was filled with hate, filled with anger, filled with disgust for the West. And he said, and these are his words, and he said, and they met my anger and my disgust with unbelievable compassion, which caused me to re-examine my view of the world. And I thought about our approach to meeting the darkness with love, and this man giving testimony to that in an auditorium full of people, a national audience. And I just thought that was something all of us should hear to see. For me, I can never hear too many of those stories. They really uplift me and show me the value in what we're doing, even though it's an anecdotal kind of thing. Now, this man has gone on. He started all sorts of organizations to try to reclaim Islamic youth, to help them see the error of their programming. And that one act of compassion by someone in that organization, look at the effect it had, and look at the ripple effect it is continuing to have as he speaks to large audiences in Pakistan and India and the United States about what turned him around. So I just thought I would share that. It just felt like it needed to be said.
You're right, and thank you for that. The other thing that I've been meaning to say throughout the class, because some of you have touched on it and you just touched on it again, Doc, you're going to see more and more incidences of this type of thing happening because you are all affecting this. Don't take it lightly like, oh my gosh, it's just happening. You're affecting it. The consciousness of this group is doing this. There are many groups out there doing good work, but none that have the mission or under Michael's mission You know, my oldest son said to me one time when he met Sir Edward, he doubted, and he said, one of the things that I don't understand is, who am I to know St. Michael? Who am I to meet somebody who has that? What did I do in my life to get this privilege? It's just like, who are you not to be? Who are you not to be? You are the light. And all of you are doing this. You're going to see more and more of it. I even said something to Monique on one of the posts. I am so excited to see all of this starting to become viral with the stones, with the unity beacons, with all these beautiful stories that are happening. I've waited so long, and I've waited so long in this lifetime as some of the other knights that have been here for a very long time. It's so cool for us to see this happening finally the way we've intended it to happen. So I don't want you, any of you, to take away from yourself that it is part and parcel due to you and what you're doing. So just remember that. Stay humble with it, but know that we're doing it. It's time and it's happening. And you're going to see proof of that more and more, just like Doc said. So thank you for that. Alexandria, what crystals do I need to protect my apartment complex, Lady Sophia? I will personal message you. Okay, Alexandria. A lot of you I've seen, I know it's after 6. A lot of you are having entities and things coming to you because of the light, but you do need to program the house, call in the 4 directions. Like I said, I'm going to post something to make the barrier stronger for you until you feel stronger. Remember, you're the position, just like I said to Erica, you have to be that 5th point in the star. You've got to command it. And like I said to Kristen as well, you can't command it, don't try it. You can command it, go for it. But until this is aligned and centered, nothing's going to listen to you. Okay? And remember, we're all superheroes, but all superheroes have Achilles heels. Okay, so it is now 6:08. We're going to go ahead and end the session. So I'd like everybody just to kind of start bringing your breath back to a normal rate. Close your eyes and just the next couple breaths, take nice deep cleansing breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth. I'm going to send everybody a combination of Blue Magi. It should be interesting. I ought to try to make that kind of combination. Blue Magi, Hierophant, and Armor of God. Nice deep breath. When you take this next breath, don't visualize it going in through your nose or in through your mouth. Visualize it sucking in through the heart chakra and vibrating out.
You should have driven all the way here just to say goodbye.
In through the heart chakra and out and around your body in an energy field that's expanding with each breath. Dear Mother, Father, God, Creator of all things, all the ascended masters and archangels who've been present with us today. First of all, we are in deep gratitude for your presence and your guidance. Before we close, I have a request on behalf of each member of this group. I ask that you send guidance and protection to the dwellings of each home. Please align through the vessels. Each member become a strong beacon of light, protected by your love. Your love is the only weapon. Love is the only defense. Continue this process throughout the days and the weeks to come. making them stronger so they can see through the negativity in their lives, releasing and protecting all in their life. And so it is, and so we are, and so it shall be. In your name, amen. Another nice deep breath, and just bring your awareness back to your space and time, knowing that this circle is complete, it is healed, and you are protected. Go forth knowing that. Much love, everyone.